Selfish, shallow, self-absorbed. These are the labels our baby-crazed society places on people who decide not to become parents. It's also the cheeky and confrontational title of a new collection of essays by 16 writers reflecting on their decision not to become parents. The smart and riveting book sees high-profile authors like Lionel Shriver dropping real talk on our population anxieties, and Jeff Dyer by way of a hilarious story about a pair of unruly kids interrupting his tennis match, challenging the notion that having children makes you better than everybody else. It's a thoughtful attempt at closing the gap on an often polarizing, intense conversation. Joining me today is the anthology's editor, Meghan Daum, to help pick apart some of the ideas in the text. It's about time we stop mistaking self-knowledge for self-absorption and realize that nobody has a monopoly on selfishness.
Too often, people who choose not to have children are assumed to be selfish, that we would rather take expensive vacations or hit the snooze button. And that's actually not the reason anyone I have ever met has chosen not to have children. It's actually a very personal, often complicated decision. And all of the essays in this book approach that decision in a really thoughtful, nuanced way.
One of the contributors, psychotherapist Jeannie Safer, published her book, Beyond Motherhood, Choosing a Life Without Children, 25 years ago. In this essay, Beyond Motherhood, she talks about how she came to the decision to not have children. I finally said to myself, I don't really want to have a baby. I want to have a baby. I longed to feel like everybody else, but I had to face the fact that I did not.
That line really resonated with me. I read Jeannie's book, Beyond Motherhood, maybe 10 years ago, and I remember just being really struck by that idea that I didn't want to have a child, but I wanted to want it. And I think it is really important to be able to make that distinction, because sometimes people go ahead and do things that they don't really want to do, or that they maybe shouldn't do because they think they're supposed to. And I think when that happens with something as important as having a child, it's no good for yourself, it's no good for your community, and it is certainly not good for children. What I love about this book is that I think it will interest parents just as much as non-parents. We have this notion in the culture that somehow these two sides are adversaries. But when you think about it, we're actually partners. To choose not to have children is actually a way of showing respect for the job of parenting. It's to say this is a really difficult and important job that should only be undertaken by people who really want to do it.